Welcome to the DCPS Early Childhood Education Division. The DCPS Early Childhood Education Division is excited to have you provide support for our youngest learners in pre-K classrooms. At DCPS we believe that all young children are capable and competent learners, and their voices and thoughts are welcomed and valued in our classrooms. In DCPS Early Childhood classrooms, children learn through a combination of play and well-planned teacher-led lessons and engaging learning experiences. Teachers utilize the creative curriculum and teaching strategies goaled for ongoing assessment. Classrooms are designed to promote children's active engagement with the environment, and teachers design learning experiences to promote children's language development, critical thinking skills, creativity, and early academic skills in order to ensure that children are well prepared for success in kindergarten and beyond. Before we get started, take a moment to grab a piece of paper and a pen or pencil so that you can take notes during the session. There will be a few times when we ask you to pause the presentation so that you can respond to a question in writing or take notes. We will cover the following topics during this training session. 1. Administrative information. We will review several administrative procedures including Smart Find Express and PeopleSoft registration. 2. Early childhood substitute teacher responsibilities. We will review your responsibilities as an early childhood substitute teacher. 3. Early childhood developmentally appropriate practices. We will review the ways in which you should interact with the children while on assignment. 4. Early childhood supervision practices. We will review all of the active supervision strategies that you must use while working in an early childhood classroom. 5. Health and safety practices. We will review standard safety procedures designed to keep children safe while working in an early childhood classroom. 6. Early childhood curriculum. We will discuss the components of the creative curriculum model. eSchool Solutions Smart Find Express is the system that integrates records and scheduling capabilities for our school-based employees and substitute teachers. DCPS school leaders use this online database to automate the employee absence entry process, as well as the substitute search and job assignment process. The process by which substitutes are called to replace a full-time teacher takes place in either the Smart Find Express online platform or over the phone. Substitutes can also accept job assignments in Smart Find Express or over the phone. PeopleSoft Employee Self-Service is the system used to view, manage and update your DCPS personnel and pay information, viewing paychecks prior to payday, submitting direct deposit information, updating tax preferences, and updating personal information, mailing and email address, phone numbers, and your emergency point of contact. You must use your DCPS email address to use your employee self-service account. If you do not have a DCPS email address, reach out to the DCPS Staffing and Onboarding team at dcps.staffingandonboarding@dc.gov. DCPS ID badges can be obtained upon accepting your substitute teacher offer. On your first day of a new school assignment, it is encouraged that you arrive to the school at least 30 minutes prior to the start time of the school day. Upon arrival, locate and review the daily lesson plan, schedule of activities and active supervision plan. Throughout the day, support the teacher or education aide to implement the daily lesson plan and schedule of activities. We will now review your responsibilities as a substitute teacher working in an early childhood education classroom. While working in an early childhood education classroom, it is expected that you do the following things. Engage students in warm and supportive interactions and conversations throughout the day, exposing children to language and asking questions about children's thoughts. Implement early childhood active supervision strategies at all times. This includes in the classroom, on the playground, in the bathroom, during transitions and at dismissal. This should be done to ensure that children are kept safe from harm. This includes counting children before and after all transitions and following the classroom's face-to-name recognition system. Upon arrival, identify the classroom's sign-in/sign-out procedures and the classroom system for ensuring that all children are present at all times. Ensure that these procedures are followed throughout the day. Provide support to children during various instructional activities throughout the day. For example, Actively engage children in small group and large group exercises. Assist with proper implementation of hand washing procedures. Assist children with personal care and hygiene needs to include diapering, toilet training and preparation for nap time. Assist children during lunchtime. Engage children in conversations about healthy eating habits and proper table manners. We will discuss each of these responsibilities as we move through this training session. A caring classroom is important for young children as they grow and learn. In order for children to reach developmental milestones, they must feel loved and supported. Young children thrive in a classroom that models a caring community. Warm and positive interactions provide young children with a wide range of positive experiences. Children benefit most when teachers engage in stimulating interactions that support learning and are emotionally supportive. Interactions that help children acquire new knowledge and skills provide input to children, elicit verbal responses and reactions from them, and foster engagement in and enjoyment of learning. Follow these developmentally appropriate practices while working in a pre-K classroom. Engage in positive one-to-one interactions with children. Do not yell at or scold children. Get on the child's level for face-to-face interactions. Use a pleasant, calm voice and simple language. Listen to children and encourage them to listen to others. Acknowledge children for their accomplishments and effort. Prohibition of abuse and or neglect at all times. Practice active supervision strategies at all times. Abide by the requirements in the early childhood education standards of conduct. Adults working with young children have a huge responsibility to ensure children feel welcomed, safe, and valued in the learning environment. This can be accomplished through thoughtful planning of activities and attention to interactions with children. These interactions can be nonverbal, including smiles, waves, high fives and fist bumps, making eye contact, getting on the child's level and recognizing children's needs and cues. They can also be verbal, such as greeting each child individually, asking children questions, prompting conversations, getting to know children, and building community in the classroom. To ensure interactions you are having with children are high quality and positive, keep in mind they must be meaningful. If a child is building a castle and you approach to show them a book you like about cars, this isn't as important to their interest in the moment as a book with photos of European castles. Remember, interactions with children should always be in response to their play and interests. Interactions should be individualized as much as possible. Be sure to always consider what you know about a child, their strengths, potential language barriers, and any exceptionalities. Lastly, be sure to build on what a child knows to increase language acquisition and expand learning. Quality interactions can and should occur throughout a child's day and in all parts of the learning environment. Children should be welcomed, feel as though they are part of the group, and be given clear, consistent expectations. Adults working with young children should provide engaging activities and an inviting classroom setup, while facilitating children's exploration of materials and activities and remaining responsive to children's interests and play. Take a moment and reflect on a time when you were a child and adults contributed to making an event joyful for you. What did they do? How did they act towards you? What things do you remember them saying? Supervision is directly tied to safety, the prevention of injury, and maintaining quality care for preschool children. To be available for quick response in an emergency, an adult must be able to hear and see the children under their care at all times. With proper supervision and in the event of an emergency, supervising adults are better equipped to identify ways to quickly and efficiently remove children from any potential harm. Early childhood education substitutes should always utilize the active supervision strategies listed below throughout the day. Set up the environment. Staff set up the environment so that they can supervise children and be accessible at all times. When activities are grouped together and furniture is at waist height or shorter, adults are always able to see and hear children. The classroom furniture should never create a visual block for the staff. Position staff. Staff should carefully plan where they will position themselves in the environment to prevent children from harm. Staff should strategically place themselves so that they can see and hear all of the children in their care. Staff are encouraged to create a zoning system specifying where each staff member will be located throughout the day. Scan and count. Staff should always be able to account for the children in their care. Staff should continuously scan the entire environment to know where everyone is and what they are doing. Staff should count the children frequently to ensure that the number of children in the classroom matches the number of children signed in on the roster. Use the classroom's face-to-name recognition system to account for all children. Listen. Specific sounds or the absence of them may signify reason for concern. Staff who are listening closely to children immediately identify signs of potential danger. Programs that think systemically implement additional strategies to safeguard children. For example, bells added to doors help alert staff when a child leaves or enters the room. Anticipate children's behavior. Staff should use what they know about each child's individual interests and skills to predict what he or she will do. Staff should be able to recognize when children might wonder, get upset, or take a dangerous risk. Engage and redirect. Staff use what they know about each child's individual needs and development to offer support. Staff wait until children are unable to problem solve on their own to get involved. One of the most effective strategies for active supervision, especially during transitions, is the use of a scan and count chart, which is also called a face-to-name counting system. You'll see a sample here on the right. This chart has each child's name and picture, and is laminated so it can be used over and over again. Each day, as each student arrives, the teacher or staff member marks that child present in the box. Whenever the child leaves the group, to go home or to go to the nurse or elsewhere, the staff member notes that on the chart. Throughout the day, the staff member checks the chart and counts the children to make sure that all children who should be present are present and accounted for. Before every transition, the staff member should use the chart to check that every child is present and in line. Staff should continue this, checking during the transition, and when they arrive at their destination. If staff members use this strategy consistently, we will never have a situation in which a child becomes lost. Let's apply some of the strategies that we have been talking about. Take a moment to read this scenario. When you have finished reading, jot down in your notes some specific steps that you could take as a substitute teacher to ensure that Emma is safe at all times. Hopefully you used some of the 6 strategies that we discussed. As a staff member, you should have noticed Emma's behavior and realized that she will need additional supervision in order to make sure that she does not wander off. You can anticipate Emma's behavior before it happens. You should set up the environment to make sure that you can see her, and the other children, at all times, and you and the other adult in the classroom can position yourself strategically on the playground to make sure that you can observe all areas of the playground and see all children, especially Emma, at all times. You might also use the listening strategy by placing a bell or something else on the door to alert you if Emma tries to leave. The scan and count strategy is also always important. It is critical for active supervision to be practiced at all times throughout the school day. Crucial times for focused attention and supervision include on the playground, class bathroom breaks, and transitions outside of the early childhood education classroom. We will explore how active supervision can be achieved in the next few sections. Active supervision practices also apply to the outdoor activity spaces. Safe and interesting outdoor spaces are developmentally appropriate, offering activities that fit the children's motor, cognitive, and social-emotional abilities. Some of the recommended playground supervision strategies include: 1. Early childhood staff should encourage all children to use the bathroom before going to the playground. Early childhood staff should also remember to take the mobile first aid kit to the playground. 2. Collaborate with other staff members on the early childhood education team to ensure that children are kept within sight lines of at least one staff member. 3. Position staff members so that all areas of the playground can be observed at all times. 4. Continuously scan the playground area to observe the children and any problems which may arise. 5. Early childhood staff should take attendance and count the children before returning to the classroom after using the playground. Early childhood staff should use the face-to-name recognition system. Bathroom supervision. Most preschoolers are not developmentally ready to be left in the bathroom alone because they do not have the self-control and good judgment to avoid risks. Be sure that at least one staff person is supervising preschool children in the bathroom. Prior to allowing any preschool student to use the bathroom, one staff member should check the bathroom to ensure that there are not any safety hazards. The bathroom should also be checked to ensure that there are not any older children or adults in the bathroom. One staff member should be posted in the bathroom to monitor and help out when children are using the toilets. While some children may want some privacy while using the restroom, it is important that children remain at least partially visible to the supervising adult. For example, children's legs and feet can remain visible from a bathroom stall door or a curtain. Students should also be reminded to follow hand washing procedures. During transitions, staff should be able to account for all children with name-to-face recognition by visually identifying each child. Classroom staff should conduct a count of the children in the classroom prior to taking the children to other locations in the building. Prior to leaving the classroom or primary location, children should be put in a formation so that visibility can be maintained during the transition to the new location. One adult should be positioned at the front of the line and one at the back of the line. The person in front should be walking backwards, if possible, so that children remain within his or her sight. One suggested tool that can be used during transitions are the walking ropes. Each child should have a designated spot on the walking rope to hold onto. Upon arrival to the secondary location, take a count of the children to ensure that all children arrived safely to the new destination. Before you meet the students on the first day of your assignment, be sure to review their allergy information. If it is not waiting for you when you arrive at school, contact the school leaders, school nurse or health provider to ask for allergy information for each child. Review this information carefully, so that you will remember which children, if any, have allergies that you need to be aware of. Throughout the day and especially around meal time, ensure that children are not exposed to any foods that they may be allergic to, and ensure that children wash their hands before and after they eat. It is essential that anything that might be toxic, such as cleaning products, are never within children's reach. They should be stored up high where children cannot reach them, and, ideally, in a locked cabinet. Even hand sanitizer, which will be used frequently in the classroom, can be toxic if swallowed. Children should only use hand sanitizer with direct adult supervision. If you suspect at any point that a child may have ingested something toxic, immediately call poison control and notify school leaders and the school nurse. But remember, the best way to ensure that children do not ingest anything that could be harmful to them is to make sure that cleaning products and other potentially toxic materials are never within children's reach. In addition to hazardous products that children might ingest, you'll see here some other common safety hazards. When you enter your classroom each day, and before the children arrive, check to make sure that the electrical outlets are covered with outlet covers. If they are not, notify your school leader or early childhood point of contact. Also check for trip hazards, such as cords along the floor or carpets that have bunched up. Throughout the day, keep an eye out for water or other liquids that might have spilled on the floor, as those can be slip hazards, and also for sharp objects like adult scissors. Finally, make sure that windows are not open more than 4 inches unless they have safety coverings that would prevent children from falling out. Let's pause for a moment to take a look at this classroom. Take a close look, and jot down in your notes all of the potential safety hazards that you can see. You may have noticed several trip hazards on the floor, as well as the spill of paint or juice that could cause children to slip and fall. If you look very closely, you may have noticed hand sanitizer on the table in the lower right corner. That hand sanitizer should be with the adult, so that children cannot access it without adult supervision. You also may notice in the upper right hand corner an electrical outlet that has not been covered, and, near the middle of the screen, you might have seen a bottle of Clorox bleach, which is highly toxic, that is accessible to children. Before the children arrived this day, the teacher should have made sure that the outlets were covered and that anything toxic, such as the bleach or cleaner, is locked away from children. Before children arrive and throughout the day she should be monitoring hand sanitizer use and monitoring the classroom floors and tables, for hazards such as spills, trip hazards, or sharp objects. Throughout the day teachers should monitor children's health status and be alert to signs of illness, including observed changes in behavior, lethargy, unusual fatigue, unusual irritability, behavioral regressions such as crying, resistance to tasks, clinging, loss of appetite, rashes or blotchy skin, shortness of breath, cough, vomiting, or increasing congestion. If a child displays any of these potential signs of illness, teachers or instructional aides should escort the child to the school nurse and/or isolation space. Adults should wear face coverings at all times while on duty. Per the Centers for Disease Control and Office of the State Superintendent of Education guidance, children age 2 and older should wear masks throughout the day, except when eating or napping. Pre-K children should be given a new mask each day during the arrival process, or they may bring a mask from home. Children should never wear face masks while napping. Recognizing that very young children may lack mature self-regulation skills and impulse control, and that they may have difficulty understanding the appropriate use of masks, teachers should use positive and affirming language and developmentally appropriate instruction for reinforcing the importance of wearing a mask. Consistent social distancing may be challenging for very young children, as they generally lack the spatial awareness to understand such distancing mandates and the self-regulation that would enable them to consistently maintain such distance. Although there is no minimum distance requirement between students, teachers should encourage students to maintain some distance between themselves and their friends and avoid very close contact, where feasible, through developmentally appropriate strategies. For example, teachers may plan activities that do not require close physical contact between multiple children, providing appropriate instruction and guidance that addresses why close contact should be avoided during this time, and setting up classroom centers and the general classroom environment in ways that maximize the use of the space. As always, teachers should use positive and affirming language in helping children to understand and maintain appropriate distancing and avoid punitive language or responses. Teachers may continue to use developmentally appropriate strategies and tools for helping children to understand and maintain appropriate distancing, such as the use of hula hoops, carpet squares, or cardboard butterfly or airplane wings that they can wear on their backs. However, children's movement around the classroom should not be restricted by 6 by 6 foot markings on the floor, such as duct tape boxes, and children should be free to move about the classroom, from center to center and from activity to activity, as they typically would. Frequently used classroom toys and materials should be cleaned either with soap and water or a disinfectant wipe. Substitute teachers are responsible for wiping down tables and chairs with a disinfectant wipe or other appropriate cleaning agent after each use. Teachers should have a bin in their classroom where they can place toys and materials that need to be removed for cleaning. Any material that has been placed in a child's mouth, or that has been coughed or sneezed on, should be removed from use as quickly as possible and placed in the bin until teachers can clean it with soap and appropriate detergent. Children are not required to be toilet trained upon entry to DCPS Pre-K. In order to minimize the risk of the transmission of any bacteria or virus during the diapering or toileting process, staff use standard precautions. Standard precautions include thorough hand washing, the use of non-porous gloves, and the cleaning and sanitizing of diapering surfaces. Because the diapering process typically requires close face-to-face contact with the child, DCPS will be providing face shields for use during diapering or toileting as an additional safety measure. Additional guidance about diaper changing procedures should be posted in all early childhood classrooms. Children are to be changed out of soiled clothes promptly, and it is considered negligent to leave a child in a soiled diaper, pull-up, or clothing. Check in with children often to see if they need to use the bathroom. They should be checked when they wake up from nap to see if they need to be changed. Children should be changed promptly when soiled or wet. It is considered negligent to leave a child in a soiled diaper or clothing during the school day without prompt attention to change the child into dry and clean clothes. Staff must wear disposable gloves on both hands for all changes and a new set of gloves for each child. After a child's diaper has been changed, both the child and the person who changed the diaper must wash their hands with soap and warm running water. Hand washing should take place when students enter the classroom in the morning, before and after meal times and restroom use, after any time that they have placed their hands in or near their mouths, and frequently throughout the day. Children should be provided with instruction and frequent guidance and reminders on proper hand washing technique. If soap and water are not available, and the hands are not visibly dirty, an alcohol-based hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol is to be used. This should only be used by a child under very close observation from a staff person or parent/guardian and follow the manufacturer's instructions. Young children should never use hand sanitizer without adult supervision, and hand sanitizer should be stored out of children's reach and put away after use. Although pre-K meals should continue to be served in the classroom, DCPS early childhood classrooms should not be implementing family-style meals in the traditional sense for school year 21-22. Instead, all meals should be served by staff to children in individual portions on a plate for each child, rather than through shared containers. Prior to each meal, staff should thoroughly wash their hands and ensure that children do the same. Staff should also ensure that tables and chairs are cleaned and sanitized before and after each meal. Children should not be serving themselves, and the use of communal bowls, plates, or serving utensils should be prohibited. Children and staff should wash hands again after eating, and staff should ensure that tables and chairs are cleaned immediately after the meal. Because mealtime is a time when children may be frequently putting their hands in their mouths, staff should take steps to promote social distancing during this time by increasing spacing between children. Where this is not possible, staff may consider staggering mealtimes or using plastic barriers between children. DCPS implements nap time with all pre-K students. DCPS provides regular time every day at which preschool-aged children are encouraged but not forced to rest or nap. Substitutes perform the following tasks related to nap time. Place the mats shortly before nap time in the designated sleeping areas. Position the nap mats in a manner so that there is enough space on both sides for the children to freely get up and walk with at least 3 feet between them. Where that is not possible, mats or cots should be placed head to toe. Mats should never be placed closely together as this may prevent a route for a child to exit in case of an emergency. Support transition activities for settling down. Transition activities should be predictable and encourage a sense of calm. Movement around the classroom should be limited to assist with the transition to sleep activities. It is encouraged that early childhood education staff utilize relaxation exercises such as deep breathing and muscle relaxation to assist with allowing the children to unwind and prepare for napping. Once the nap mats are placed and the children are laying down, walk around the room to ensure that each child is covered properly. Teachers and paraprofessionals should rotate around the classroom to monitor the children at all times. Mats or cots should be wiped down with a disinfectant wipe before and after each use. The creative curriculum for preschool is a comprehensive, research-based curriculum that promotes exploration and discovery as a way of learning, enabling children to develop confidence, creativity, and lifelong critical thinking skills. At the heart of creative curriculum is careful consideration of the latest research in early childhood education and knowledge of child development theory. Creative curriculum highlights the important balance between applying this general knowledge of child development with the particular knowledge a teacher gains by forming a relationship with each child and family. All DCPS pre-K programs currently use the creative curriculum. Children work both individually and in groups in a variety of settings to develop skills in areas such as literacy, math, problem solving, and social interaction. Children engage in meaningful play to investigate studies such as trees, clothes, recycling, and buildings. Learning takes place in interest areas where children explore and test their own hypotheses. It is designed to help educators plan and implement a developmentally appropriate, content-rich program for children with diverse backgrounds and skill levels. Substitutes may be provided with creative curriculum lesson plans, with daily morning meeting activities, read aloud books with discussion questions, small group literacy and math activities, interest area themes, outdoor play activities, and transition activities. The creative curriculum schedule utilized in pre-K classrooms varies by school. The sample schedule contains a list of some of the activities that you may observe on the daily schedule in the classroom. Morning meeting is a short period of time where you gather the children in your classroom as a whole group. Morning meeting allows students to interact with each other and learn about the schedule for the day. During this brief time you are going to set the tone for the day by focusing on community building and reviewing the schedule for the day. Morning meeting should start with a welcome song which may incorporate movement and move into a discussion related to a study topic. You should also discuss the question of the day. During choice time or center time, children choose the interest area in which they would like to work, with whom they want to work, and what materials to use. Choice time or center time usually lasts for an hour or more. During this period of time, most interest areas are available to children including, blocks, dramatic play, toys, and games, and library. When children are finished working in one area, they are free to move to another center. Sometimes children play independently of adults, but on other occasions teachers may make thoughtful decisions to ask the children open-ended questions. Since choices are such an important skill, at a meeting before choice time or center time begins, it is helpful to speak with the children about which activities will be available. Many of the pre-K classrooms utilize a visual cue such as a chart to focus the children's attention on the choices available to them. A small group activity is designed to introduce new concepts or materials, teach a particular skill, or conduct focused observation. Typically lasts about 10 to 15 minutes. Some small group activities engage children fully for a longer period of time and usually take place during choice time. The makeup of small groups will not be the same every day. Sometimes the children will work on a particular skill one day and on another day you may invite the children to explore open-ended materials such as leaves, shells, buttons, or other household items. You may also consider reading a rhyming book with several children to promote phonological awareness. In small group settings, you can address multiple objectives with children at different levels. Repeated interactive read-alouds, a systematic method of reading aloud, allow teachers to scaffold children's understanding of the book being read, model strategies for making inferences and explanations, and teach vocabulary and concepts. Read-alouds are designed to help children acquire early language skills. Read-alouds can and should occur throughout a child's day and in all parts of the learning environment. Among other things, read-alouds build word-sound awareness in children, a potent predictor of reading success. Adults working with children every day use a variety of reading techniques individually and in combination to support children. The purpose of read-alouds is for the adult to think aloud about the reading. We are going to discuss some read-aloud techniques that you can use with the children you will be working with. Prepare a comfy read-aloud area. It is always important that you and the children are comfortable during the read-aloud. It is okay for you as the adult to sit in a chair or sit on the floor with the children. As for children, we want children to be comfortable as well. Sometimes sitting crisscross applesauce is not the most comfortable sitting position. It is okay for children to have their legs out straight or other appropriate sitting positions. You want to make sure children are comfortable and ready before you start the read aloud. Share the book. It is important that all children are able to see the pictures in the book while you are reading. Holding the book wide open so that you can read the story and share it at the same time. Children will remind you if they cannot see the book. Give it all you've got as you read the book. It is important to make dramatic and fun sound effects, hand motions, facial expressions, and changes in tone, inviting children to become a part of the story with you. Involve your listeners. It is always important to involve the children in the read aloud. Having children involved in the read aloud makes it meaningful and fun. Give children a line to repeat, a hand motion, or a sound effect that they can add at the appropriate time while you are reading the story. You might have to remind children when it is their time to be involved in the story. Invite children to use their senses. This is another way to get children involved in the read aloud process. Help children imagine not only the sights in a story but the sounds, smell, tastes, physical sensations, and emotions, as well. A technique that is usually used is having children close their eyes while you are asking questions. For example, do you smell the cookies in the oven? What do they smell like? Take time for discussion. Children have a lot to say. You want to encourage discussion where children can make connections from their own lives to the book. Use creative questions to encourage in-depth thinking and discussion. The students in your classroom have expressed interest in reading a book about vehicles. Take a moment and reflect on some ways that you can help engage children during the read aloud. Jot down all of the strategies that you can think of on your note paper. We have now reached the end of our training session. Please ensure that you complete the assessment to measure your familiarity with the content we have covered during this session. Please submit your responses to all of the questions in the assessment. Thank you for joining us for this training session, and please feel free to reach out to the Early Childhood Education Division with any questions you might have. Thank you.